Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to offer dana, then please do go to justthiszen.org/giving. Your support really does make a huge difference. Thank you so much.
So welcome to day 2. And one of my experiences of day 1 is that in the silence that we co-created, everyone seems so beautiful. And it really touches me to have that experience that's possible in silence. So thank you for co-creating that today and continuing it this morning. So high tide this morning was at 8:46, and high tide this evening will be at 9:03. And in high tide we feel this fullness of everything coming together. And then as the tide goes out during the day and we ebb and flow together in this beautiful zendo, the branching streams are revealed. And then in the evening, the full tide will come again. And as we practice here, as I practice here, I can feel the ebb and flow of myself and the ebb and flow of each of you and our community ebbing and flowing together. My experience is we only have to touch one part of the universe and we touch everything. I love, and I'm particularly aware of, the play of light and darkness at this time of the year. The play of the relative and the absolute, the known and the unknown. And darkness and light pervades the Sandakai. The spiritual source shines clear in the light. The branching streams flow on in the darkness. Refined and common speech come together in the dark. Clear and murky phrases are distinguished in the light. In the light, there is darkness, but don't take it as darkness. In the dark, there is light, but don't see it as light. Light and dark oppose one another, like front and back foot in walking. Last week, I read an article by the poet Jean Sprackland welcoming our transition to this dark time of the year. She says, "It's often said that we are living in dark times. But in fact, the times we live in are perilously light. The so-called dead of night teems with insects, mammals, birds and other forms that rely on darkness for hunting, feeding, reproduction and navigation. But our artificial lights, too many, too bright, on when they aren't needed, interfere with all these essential processes and with our own health too. It's natural to seek the cheer and reassurance of light, but artificial light is like sugar. The more we have, the more we want. And to adapt Jean Sprackland, it's natural to seek the cheer and certainty, the cheer and reassurance of certainty, of knowing. But certainty and knowing is like sugar. The more we have, the more we want. Perhaps this retreat is actually an opportunity to hold each other's hands in the darkness. I'm really appreciating being here at Arnside Educational Institute in this beautiful building, and everywhere I go there is exquisite care. Everything is a generous offering to the community, and also they honour their ancestors here. They honour Joyce Nicholson, and downstairs there are photographs of all sorts of people who have made this community what it is. So it's really, really heartwarming to be here practicing in this way in a place where there is a dedicated practice to offering to the community, to offering to the world. Something else which has really heartwarmed me recently is the way that Cassie is preparing for her entry tomorrow to be head student. It's really touching that she's invited so many members of her community who've practiced and walked with her for years and years. And she's set up a Zendo at home, in a home that actually she's borrowed for the period of the ceremony. And there'll be activities and sitting and ceremony even before we see her tomorrow. So it's really touching that she's taking this with such care, with such energy and such purpose. So I wanted you to kind of realise that tomorrow when you see her community on the screen, supporting her to be our head student. How many of you have read this book by Suzuki Roshi? Okay. So it's a commentary on the Sandokai. And Flint talked about it yesterday, how Melt Weitzman was completing the manuscript, and it was sent off in 1998. And it's based upon a series of talks that Suzuki Roshi gave in response to the Sandokai, inspired by the Sandokai. So the talks that you'll hear from myself and from Lynn and Trudy are actually commentaries on Suzuki Roshi's commentaries on the Sandokai. So in the introduction, Mel Weitzman, who had completed the manuscript and Flint referred to yesterday, said 3 wonderful things about practice. So I think this is a wonderful definition of practice, and he's talking about Suzuki Roshi's way of practicing. He said essentially his message is how to let go of our self-centeredness, first thing, and to settle ourselves on daishin, big mind or big self, second thing. How to practice in a formal way, as we are doing here, and how to extend our practice in the informality of our daily lives. If you were ever asked by someone what practice is, that would be a great answer. It's so simple, it's so clear. Suzuki Roshi said, we have formal practice with informal mind. We have formal practice with informal mind. And in the beginning of the 12th century, Dogen, who is the founder of Soto Zen in Japan, went to China to learn about the practice there, the practice of Chan, which we often quote and talk about in our practice, all the ancestors. And he met a teacher called Master Rujing, who became his teacher. Rujing said to him, because of causes and conditions, life after life, Buddhas and ancestors cultivate every virtue, obtaining a soft and flexible mind. Dogen bowed and said, how did you obtain a soft and flexible mind? And Rujing said, by affirming all the Buddhas and all the ancestors, dropping body and mind. This is the soft, flexible mind. Regard this as the mind seal of Buddhas and ancestors. This is an essential aspect, dimension of our teaching, this soft, flexible mind. Dogen bowed six times. And Flint often pairs this essential soft and flexible mind expressed by Rujing with a statement by the 10th century Master Yunmen, who when asked, what are the teachings of a whole lifetime? He replied, an appropriate response. An appropriate response. So perhaps we could think of our practice as the interplay between these two. We have a soft and flexible mind, and we have an appropriate response. And these two seem to always be in relationship with each other in our particular expression of practice. The second thing he said about Suzuki Roshi is, although there was much to be done, he was never in a hurry. He was centered both in balance and time. Isn't that beautiful? He was centered both in balance and time. He always gave me the feeling that he was always completely with the activity of the moment. Last week I offered a talk to Nothing Missing, which I'm going to include a couple of pieces here in this talk, because I think they're so with my practice at the moment, and perhaps with yours maybe. So there's a statement by Chiang Tzu, and I suggested that when we arrived here yesterday morning at 8 o'clock, perhaps feeling very busy, we could start with this statement. Easy is right. Easy is right. Begin right, and you are easy. Continue easy, and you are right. The right way is to forget the right way, and to forget the way is easy. That could be the koan of a lifetime. And this is where I'm circling in my practice, I realise, in my recent talks. I've just given a talk called Enjoy Your Life. Every day is a good day, and easy is right. So that's where I'm circling at the moment. The Chan teacher Gugos asked the question, why are you not at peace? Why are you not at peace? And that's a question that goes with these three statements for me. The third thing that Mel Weitzman said was, strictly speaking, a talk is more of an informative kind of presentation, while a teisho offers the teacher's own dharma or direct understanding. So when we read this book here, when we listen to Suzuki Roshi, he's constantly, in my view, offering a teisho. He's offering his own dharma, his own interpretation. And there's so much freedom in that. And I think that's one of the things we feel about many of the teachers we hear. They're actually offering the freedom of their own interpretation, their own love of the Dharma. Some of the titles from this book are very beautiful. So one of them is, Buddha is always here. The blue jay will come right into your heart. The willow tree cannot be broken. And I think this one is very apposite for me at the moment, and for us maybe. Today we may be very happy, and the next day we don't know what will happen to us. So it's like, this book feels like he is referring to the Sandokai. He is being inspired by it, but he's creating his own painting. It's like, there it is. What actually flows from the Sandokai into your own life? Your own expression of the Dharma. And that's a great question for us. Whenever we hear the teaching, in what way does it inspire us and allow it to flow into our hearts and our minds? When I see you all and I sense some freedom is happening, something is shifting, something is moving collectively and individually, it's such a beautiful thing. One of the most recent experiences I've had of that in a student is with our head student, Jan, with her beautiful single principle practices, which she's offered so generously in recent months. But in the last one, have you noticed a difference? Have you noticed some freedom, some beauty, some risk, some courage? And it's so touching to see that. It would be so easy to miss it. But I suggest, if you haven't read them or haven't signed up for them, please do sign up for them, because they're brilliant. Because you have offered us a pathway to this retreat, a pathway to Arnside. And I've learned a lot from them, so thank you so much. The 6 single practice principles are the first one. Sit with the image. There's the image. Just sit with it. There's another one on that wall. How does it enter you? How do you relate to that image? What would you do with it? How would you express it from your own being? The second one, embrace not knowing. The third one, notice our external discrimination. Number 4, notice our internal discrimination. 5, embrace oneness. And 6, coming back to darkness, sit in the darkness. Sit in the darkness of mystery and not knowing. Flint concluded his talk yesterday by saying, where does the freedom come from? Where does the freedom come from? And in last week's talk from Nothing Missing, I quoted Gugo, because I think it's such a central aspect of our practice that we sometimes don't fully get. So he's talking about the gateless barrier, the wonderful book of koans, and he's written a commentary on each one. But he gives an introduction, and in his introduction he says, the gateless barrier is a 13th century work that offers 48 entryways to wake up to your life. And there are 48 ways. These entryways are presented as a barrier or a checkpoint at a gate. The truth is, there is no gate or barrier. There is no gate or barrier. Where you feel stuck is precisely where you realize awakening or freedom. Where you feel stuck is precisely where you realize awakening or freedom. You don't transcend it. You become free within it. The main message of this work is clear. You are already free. It's really worth pausing and taking that in. Flint said, "The truth will set you free, but first of all, it will make you miserable." So, we each have our stucknesses, and that's the material we bring to practice, the material we bring to practice discussion. It's this, it's that. I was very touched by Miss Flight in Charles Dickens's Bleak House, and she had these trapped birds. And one day I saw the film, she kind of released all these amazing canaries, and the bird she had called Hope, Joy, Youth, Peace, Rest, Life, Dust, Ashes, Waste, Want, Ruin, Despair, Madness, Death, and so on. And she releases them towards the end of the book. And I think, if I was to release some of my stucknesses, fly into the room, how many stucknesses would we have in this room right now? Like everywhere there's a stuckness, and everywhere there's an opportunity for freedom. If we can turn it round and actually have it as a possibility for opening. So in one of the chapters, Suzuki Roshi says, we should not stick to the rules or words too much. And then he goes on to explain why we should stick to the rules, but not the words. He says, in the Sankai, it says, hearing the words, understand the meaning. Don't set up standards of your own. If you don't understand the way before you, how will you know the path as you walk? So he says, when you listen to the words, you should listen to the source of the teaching. We say the words or teaching is the finger pointing to the moon. In one of the koans in The Gateless Gate, is about a teacher who, when asked what is the true way, always used to just point his finger like this. And it's a beautiful chapter. But he just used to do that. He used to point to the moon. And in Suzuki Roshi's view, students stuck to the words in Sakito's time. They stuck to the meaning of the words, but not what's beyond it, not what the source of the teaching is. Now, this is a very beautiful piece, I think, and it really speaks to me about what practice is. He says, the way to study Zen should be like the way a fish picks up its food. It just swims around, and if something good comes, snap. As long as you are following the rules, you will have something. Even though you don't have anything to study, you are actually studying, like a fish who doesn't seem to know what he is eating. That's all. We should study Zen in that way. To understand does not mean to understand something through your head. He said, you should do things like a mule or an ass. And he says, to see the actual moon, he's talking about Tassajara here, the monastery he was talking at. To see the actual moon through Tassajara is the way to practice at Tassajara. Rules are not the point. The teaching that the rules catch is the point. So when we're here practicing, walking, being silent, exploring what silence is, it's like the rules are there so that you can catch something. You make yourself present, you make yourself available for something to work inside you. This practice is caught, it's not taught. And like something you catch, you don't really know how it's working inside you but you can feel the symptoms through your body and mind, and each person expresses what they have caught. So when I see the beauty of us in this room, I see the complete beauty of you as you are, but I also see some catching, something's been caught, some shift, some move towards freedom that perhaps wasn't there before. So you don't practice, you don't do the practice does you. You just make yourself available to it. In Joan Sutherland's words, you make yourself fetchable. Just make yourself available. It's not about improvement, it's about availability. When I was unwell during the summer, and I was in Devon, and I was between two hospital stays, the lovely Lisa House, who was with me at Sheldon, offered me some body work, and I would call it body ease. But she was very generous, and she said, it feels a bit like your energy is on a choppy sea. You're being tossed about by the waves. And she was kind of feeling my body and sensing it. She said, I want to try and bring you into the harbour. Bring you into the harbour so you're just bobbing up and down with the other boats and just moving with the tide. And just at that moment I felt such a sense of yes, and something shifted just by hearing that. It's a beautiful image. And I have that image today, like we're kind of bobbing up and down together. Things are moving, shifting in this harbour, this safe place, or certainly safe enough place for us to be here. Safety is always negotiable in our minds. We were bobbing up and down, and then we go out into the world and we practice and we catch some fish, hopefully. Maybe it supports us to catch fish when we go out to see beauty, to see kindness, to see freedom. So we're bobbing up and down and just feeling the waves of life through us as we're here today. Ugo is the Dharma heir of Sheng Yen, a teacher I like very much. And I think this really statement by Sheng Yen really encapsulates what I'm sharing today, what I'm feeling drawn to in my practice. And I know some of you are too. And it's a watery statement, so it's very right for today. He says, be soft in your practice. Be soft in your practice. Think of the method as a fine silvery stream, as a branching stream, not a raging waterfall. Follow the stream. Have faith in its course. It will go its own way. Meandering here, trickling there, it will find the grooves, the cracks, the crevices. It will find the grooves, the cracks and the crevices within us. It will just work in its own intelligent way. Just follow it. Never let it out of your sight. It will take you. One more time. Be soft in your practice. Think of the method as a fine silvery stream, not a raging waterfall. Follow the stream, have faith in its course. It will go its own way, meandering here, trickling there. It will find the grooves, the cracks, the crevices. Just follow it. Never let it out of your sight. It will take you. And that is, I think, what we have to do. Just follow our practice, never let it out of our sight, and knowing that it will take us, having faith that it will take us. Thank you very much.